Well, hello and welcome to another episode of On the Bank Angling. Today we're at Furzebray Lakes. We're on the Specimen Lake. We're here for a week and hopefully we'll catch a fish or two. I mean, the wind's been hacking up here, but now it's gone dead calm, totally bright, terrible conditions for anything other than a bit of surface fishing. But I don't really want to surface fish because I don't want to disturb my swim too much. I've put a fair bit of bait out and I want the fish to get settled on it this evening. I don't know if you can see, just turn it around, and it's not often I fish a third rod, but I'm going to fish a third rod this week. I've got so many options out in front of me. I'm in a swim called the Lawns. I came third in the draw. I'll take you over to the other guys so that they can see where they've been and what swims they've chosen, and they might explain to you why they've chosen them. I've basically chosen this swim because there's a lot of marginal spots. It's quite easy to cast over to the far side, get it clipped up nice and tight. Nothing as of yet. As I say, the weather was supposed to be terrible. It's actually boiling. Totally the opposite of what we were predicted. So what should have been perfect bottom bait fishing weather is actually terrible bottom bait fishing weather. So we'll have to see how we get on. But hopefully once it cools down, the fish will get on the bait that I put out there. We should have one or two for the cameras. So Chris is into the first fish of the trip. They're on the top. Fighting like a demon. It's a good start though. It's now.
No.
Well done. So first fish of the trip. 18 £, exactly.
You were cleaning my scales, couldn't I? Probably
18.4.
18.4. That's do me. Especially if it looks like that.
Yeah, right. Got to be one for the future, that one. Pressure's off for Chris then. Well behaved, isn't it?
Now it is.
No.
It wasn't in the water.
I shouldn't have said that, should I? That's going to kick off. Nicely done, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Well spotted, Steve.
Yeah, Dad spotted it for me. Well, he made me look in the right direction and then I watched him for a bit. Okay. I haven't put any bait in there.
somebody honking the horn, isn't it? Out in the field. I'll tell you what, I've never seen your dad move so fast.
Oh, that water's freaking boiling.
Hang on, mate. Get over your shoulder. A bit late for that.
Go on anyway. Right, so here we go then. All drama here. It's the first morning, and everyone's had a biteless night. Few occurrences, but it's now nearly 11 o'clock, and Kev down in the lawns has hooked into his first fish of the session, but it's badly weeded him. So we will mention Tony doesn't normally like you wading in, but he has given us permission to do so in this swim at the moment because there is quite a lot of weed in here at the moment. And this one's got Kev quite badly weeded up in it. It doesn't appear to be moving, does it? But we'll just hopefully he gets it out.
Feel it kicking when I had hold of the rod.
Yeah, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they do get absolutely covered in the stuff, and they are just sat there with it all over their head and not doing anything. So
Moving, Kev.
So that's just a little tip for anybody that is fishing in weed. The only other one is normally, if you drop the pressure, sometimes they'll swim out on their own.
Is it moving? Yeah.
Picking up his other line.
Gotta be careful, I don't want to go too deep.
Got the foot yet?
That is tight.
Might go on its own yet. Can't be that thick a weed, can it?
This one just rips it as well.
Yeah, it's one of the first years ever Furzebray's seen a lot of weed, apparently. Talking to Tony, the owner. He has tried to take a lot of it out for this reason, but weed's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just can make it a bit awkward if something like this happens. But Kev still might be able to get this fish out, hopefully. It's pretty much right over the top of it now. Oh, that's risky if he's going to do what I think he's going to do. Tense moments, these folks. Pulling the line away, we should see a fish bolt in a minute. If it's going to.
Just stick the net under it,
Would have thought if it was still there, but then you don't know. You'd like to see it move fairly soon. To be fair, this is good from Kev. Is he there?
Don't know. What to say?
He might have gone through it, Kev. He might be somewhere else.
My legs here,
Your lead's there, is it?
but not much. Doesn't look like. That's odd.
Still on?
I'll pull back then.
You have to come out and net it. That'd be one foot camera, isn't it?
So yeah, we're I'll say it again, he doesn't normally like us wading, but he did say in this situation, he did even say that if this did happen, we could go and get him and he'd get the fish out for us. But Kev had his waders handy and wanted to get in there sharpish, so. Yeah? Careful if you're holding the line, because he'll shoot off once he's free.
Needs two people to do it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Shall I go in?
Either the line goes
Have
through
to
this
leave.
and goes elsewhere,
That's possible.
or
Because the lead will have hit the weed, stopped, and then
Pulled off, and that means,
carried on going somewhere.
yeah.
And obviously you're feeling the weight of the weed rather than the fish.
So Kev's got a big ball of weed there now, just picking it apart. Sorry, the come off. Unlucky, bro.
Well, just a little update. As you can see, I'm getting constant wind bites. I've been fishing all of the day. I lost one in the weed earlier. No doubt there's some video on that we're going to do later on. That is going to be in the video. It's probably before this actually, because ooh. But yeah, it's coming up to bite o'clock really. It's about 6, 7. It's quarter past 7. So fingers crossed, should get something before dark. But it's been quite difficult all round. Chris had that 18.4. I've lost one. But there hasn't been a lot coming out. I think it's going to take him a day or two to get settled. A day or two to for us to get on them. But hopefully we'll have a few more. I'm going to leave it at this, but fingers crossed you'll see a bit more of me this evening. So John, you chose the point as your swim. Well, Tony chose it on your behalf, but you've been banging on about it for 3 weeks before we came here. So could you explain why you decided to choose the point as your swim since you came first in the draw?
Because basically I had no choice, really, because I wasn't here to pick the swim I would like.
Right.
Obviously, I'd have liked to have a look around the lake before I made my decision.
So were you going on historic evidence?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's shown a lot of foam over recent months, so...
Photographs,
Yeah.
you know, you like the look of it, did you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of features.
Would you have
Lot
chose
more
somewhere
work.
else? No,
I
you
think
could
it's-
sat it.
Obviously the wind and weather conditions favouring other pegs, as well as it's still a bit, well,
That's all right, Steve. Okay.
as I've mentioned,
Mm.
I only fish 2 rods,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of different options, so it's selecting the best one to fish at the time, and I'm just sort of changing as I go along to suit conditions.
It is a bit of a head screw
Yeah,
all the way
so
through, isn't it? The amount of different
perhaps
options
if-
that there
yeah,
are.
There's a lot of different features on this peg.
What you need is 10 rods. You're right then.
Ideally, yeah. And then I might be able to catch one.
So we're 3 days in, nearly. Are we 3 days or 2 days in?
2 days.
2 days in, but it feels like about 4 for me. Because I'm under pressure to catch, because I'm in the informed swim with the southwesterly. Do you feel optimistic that you're going to catch in the next
I do now.
4 days of fishing? Yeah? You're happy now?
Feel a lot better now.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's go and interview Chris and see what he says in his peg. So Chris, you came second in the draw and you chose Jezzers.
Yes, I did.
Can you explain why you chose Jezzers?
I chose Jezzers because it was at the windward end of the lake at the time.
And it still is.
And it still is. So you would think that would mean that there are some fish down here, which there are. And I've got plenty of water, plenty of options. Got a snag to my left that I can fish to, an island to my right that I can fish to, and then loads of open water where I can just spread bait and hopefully they can just come in and graze freely. Yeah, so
okay.
that's why I chose it.
So you chose it because it suits your style of fishing?
Yes, it does indeed suit my style of fishing.
What style of fishing do you prefer then?
Fishing over spreads of boilies.
Alright.
On.
You use chop rigs?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what's caught me the fish so far.
Why are you like playing with your head in a funny way?
You won't catch me another one. That way.
Is it because you're frustrated?
Scratching my head because I'm not sure what to do. I'm going to put 2 zigs out and see what happens with them.
Okay. Right. Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, I came third in the draw, and I picked lawns. The reasons that I picked lawns were because it's got a nice far margin, it's reed line to cast across to, lower your baits in. It's a nice weedy little bay to my right that I can wade in and I can just plop my bait in nice and gently. It's also got a little back bay that I can actually put a rod out in. I'm favouring the fish an inline drop-off setup, and fishing little patches of bait with the inline drop-off over the top. Hasn't done me anything yet, but it's early days still. It's 2 days to go, but we're really starting to feel it a little bit because we've only had 1 fish between 5 of us. And even though it's southwesterly, it's quite high pressure, and the fish aren't really getting down on the bait like we'd like them to. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get on a few fish in the next day or two. The pressure's due to drop and we're due a bit of rain, but we'll just have to see how we go.
Chris does.
He reckons he saw something there. Thought a bunch of it, but I'm not sure. Just load a rig and then see if it comes back.
Da, da, da. So this is Jack, and Jack came 4th in the draw and chose the aquarium. So why did you choose the aquarium then, Jack?
Got quite a bit of water and I feel left alone, no one could interfere with me really.
You don't like being interfered with then?
I only had 2 choices of pegs really, didn't fancy the inlet.
No, that's fair enough.
Trapped in between other anglers and...
Yeah, you like the idea that you're on the back of the wind and you're away from everybody.
Yeah.
But you've been a bit, not really seen very much moving so far, have you?
No, I've only got shallow water in front of me really.
Do you think that will change when the pressure drops more?
No.
No?
It's going to get colder during the week.
I think you'll be alright, but you know, you never know. You're not too hopeful, are you?
I'm blanking over here.
Well, just have to see how the week pans out, I suppose. Dave, you were last in the draw. What peg did you choose?
Well, I chose the inlet. I mean, I'm always last in the draw. Every time I have to draw anywhere, I'm always last. I predicted that I'd be last for the weeks leading up to the event. Sure enough, I was last. So, but I chose the inlet because actually I'm reasonably happy to get that coming out last. Even though up to now it's been quiet. But there's a million options in this swim. In fact, you could fish 6 rods and not cover everything. So, you know, I'm going to keep trying.
You say that's like a fundamental flaw of the fishery, is there's just too many features that you can fish to, isn't there, really?
Well, there is a flaw, but I mean, you've got, you know, there's a lot of options. I mean, the other reason for choosing this swim really is it's about the closest I can get to where I think the fish are at the moment, because I think they're largely in the other in the sort of lawns area in the bottom part of the lake. But
Yeah.
hopefully, you know, we're just hoping that a few will drop back. I've got a fair bit of bait in, and I'm going to try a few little tricky margin things and a few different things today, and see if we can make something happen. So
I hope you do make something happen, mate. I do. Brilliant.
we'll see. Got to keep trying.
Are you going to go and have a shower and finish your cup of have a cup of tea and a shower?
Freshen up, come back and get back to it.
Tell you what, it does make you feel about 1,000,000 times better.
So here's Kev, eventually off the mark with this fish, which is, what was it, 16?
16.4. So,
Not massive, but it's a really nice looking fish.
3rd PM.
And it's taken a while. And it's beating him up on the mat at the moment.
Proper beating me out this one.
There we go.
So, 3 days in it now, so second fish of the trip. Fingers crossed we'll have some a bit bigger for the end of the trip, but
Get some pickies. We need to get out in front. Don't think he's going on there, do you?
There we go. Well done, Kev.
thank you very much. Well, it's Thursday, day 4 of our trip. It's been fishing quite hard, to be honest. I had that fish earlier, and then Jack had one shortly after me. and John had one in the night actually, which was pretty good, £25. And the weather conditions have changed quite a lot. It's cooled down a lot. The wind's dropped. There's a lot of cloud overhead. It looks like it's going to rain. So hopefully that will get the fish to switch on and feed. Tony says that the fish, they kind of come on like 3 days, then they sort of like, you know they feed for 3 days and then spend 4 days not feeding. So fingers crossed. Might have something for the camera today. I mean, I had all the fish in secret yesterday. Ooh, that was a cute though. And that. I had what, 30 fish, 40 fish in secret yesterday. Little yellow S4 bang in the middle of them. Couple of boiling pellet, and they were clouding up all around it in the weed. They weren't taking out pop up, and the only thing I can think is that they were feeding on naturals that lived in the weed, because there was no way I shouldn't have got a take. We'll have to see if they're back in there today, because I'm going to fish something a little bit smaller and try and make something snail shaped or something and get it in there when they're not looking. So we're doing alright, because none of us are blanked except for Steve. But if Steve's still continuing to blank by about this afternoon, then I'm, if the fish are back in secret, then you can get in there and nail a few. And then none of us are on the blank then. But we'll just have to see how we get on. So just eat my breakfast, I think, and have a cup of coffee and cigarette and see what's what. Well, it's 5:30 Thursday afternoon, and the rain that's been forecast, along with the drop in temperature, has just started happening. So hopefully that'll get the fish to get their heads down and get on the munch a bit, because at the moment we're only on 4 fish. We're on one for me, one for Chris, one for John and one for Jack. So Steve hasn't had one yet, which is a bummer because we need him to have one. But the pressure's dropping like a stone now, and over the next few days, and hopefully that'll put the fish on the feed a bit, make them go down on the feed. I've had fish in my swim all day, but they've just not been interested in feeding. I've tried fishing from on the top, tried fishing from on the bottom, just nothing. So I'm going to enjoy this chicken curry, Sainsbury's Essentials chicken curry with rice, boiling a bag of rice, and have a beer, and hopefully the next time I speak to you we'll have something to show other than rain and food.
You don't need to hold
It's quite funny watching you hold it when it's £20 on the nose though.
Is it?
Yeah.
£20 bang on.
Yeah. So Chris has finally had his first 20 from here of the trip, should I say. He has a 24-12 before, but
What a beast of a fish. A lovely zeppelin here. It's pretty good really. Hopefully it's going to start fishing pretty well now, because the pressure's dropped and Chris has had his first pickup in about 4 days. So yeah.
It was the first night I'm at the bottom, mate. I'm starting to regret not fishing.
What a stunner though, eh? Let's get a couple of pictures and get this one back. Ideal, well done Chris.
So I'd just swim into there and just like.
Right then, so it's Friday morning, and what you got there, John?
I don't know.
How big is it?
32 pounds.
John's got a 32 pounder. It's more like what we came for. New PB for John. It's pissing down with rain today. Here it is. I'm sure Tony will know what one it is, but I think it looks like one that's called Black Spot because of that scale in the middle, but I might be wrong. It could be a different one. But it's a big fish and it's John's new PB. It's going to hoist him up. Try to. That's mint, that, mate. Well done, Johnny boy. What'd you catch it on?
Can't tell you that.
You can't tell us what you caught it on. I'll show you the swim he caught it from. The one he's been banging on about all week. The point. Well done, John. You've got to chuck a bucket of water over your head now, even though it's raining. Whenever you're ready to let it go, bud. Woo! Come on then, let's see it. Thumbs
Well, it's Friday morning and the pressure's dropping like a stone and it's pissing down till 4 o'clock. so it should be a good day. It's not that good though. I decided to bring a brolly instead of a full bivvy, and that was probably a bad idea. My stove, not this one, but my little one, is actually a flamethrower now. Only 3 of the holes work, and it just shoots it out. The flame out the top, nearly set everything on fire this morning, trying to make a cup of coffee. So I've just got to sit here and smoke bags, and I've got some beer to drink, but I don't really think it's late enough yet for a beer, so I think I'll just dehydrate until then. But it's like this till 4. Fingers crossed we have something at about 4. Although from previous experience it's probably going to be more like about 11 o'clock. So out of this swim. So fingers crossed.
Right, so Dad's into his first fish of the trip. Me and John told him to watch this rod. I'm quite glad we did, because me and John saw 2 fish rise over this bait in the last hour. So I'm not too surprised that he's had a bite on it, really. They proper botched over it, didn't they, as well? You've got to play it through a big weed bed, so be careful. On a choddy, was it? Ooh. We got the waders. We've got waders. Tense moments there.
It's more tense.
I don't know what, I'm not quite sure what John's doing down here.
Got it?
It didn't look that big then, but it's a fish, so.
Yeah, at least none of us are blind. Okay.
They were directly above it as well. I figured for the 2 minutes of footage it's going to get. Ain't going to work. Finally! My lens is all... It's just quite a nice smog effect that I've got going on here, but it's just condensation from my vodka.
Blue. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, mine's the same. Proper steamed up. Well, that's safe.
Oh, closed your eyes just as I was taking it.
Yeah. It's alright. I think it's picked up the line anyway. It's made some pretty big boils, hasn't it?
No!
It's a fish anyway. Put some level with you, John. It's got the other line on it, hasn't it? About 16 or 17 pound. Slack. It's slack. It is caught around the line, but the line's slack, mate. You must be able to, because there's no slack on this line. This line's slack as anything. Oh, it's attached to something down there, that's why. There it is. Yeah, that's what it was.
Looks a bit like peanut, but smaller.
You've gone ahead. You've got two ahead of me. Unless I can nick a couple out tonight.
Nicely done, Chris. Looks like they're on the munch.
I'm having to, as much as I hate it, I'm having to refine my tactics and fish bottom baits, which I haven't done for about 6 years.
Nah, that's a good fish, mate. Well done.
Chris's first fish on bottom baits for the last 5 years.
And the linear last
No, he had the linear last night as well, didn't he? 220s on bottom baits. Well, it's coming up to our final night at Furzebray Carp Lakes. It's been good fun actually. I haven't caught a lot, but I think I've learned from my mistakes, and I think learning about your mistakes is more important than putting fish on the bank, really, in a way. I mean, like, obviously it's nice to put fish on the bank, but it's also nice to learn from what you've done wrong, and to you know, sort of like move forward from that and take your fishing forward a level. I've learnt a few bits from Tone, which has been nice, and David Blackler as well. So big shout out to those two. Oh, I was going to say, the carp are in my swim tonight, so hopefully I'll have some. And just as I'm saying that and I'm recording, carp boshes out in front of me, which is just pucker. But whether they're feeding is another matter. But fingers crossed. I mean, like, John's had a few, so let's see how we get on. But fingers crossed. Still no carp, but I've made myself a little friend and a pepper, eh? Just decided to come up and sit on my bed chair and say hello. More interested in scratching yourself today, aren't you? Well, it's the final morning. Just going to start packing down my kit in a minute. It's been an uneventful night. Started raining about 4:30 this morning, so everything's drenched to put in the car, as you'd expect. It's been a good week. I've had a good time, I think. It's been hard fishing, but you can't always have it like that. But it's been good to catch up with John and Jack, and you know, we've seen a few fish come out. It's a shame I wasn't there to see Sovereign, but it's been good. It's just a bit of a shame we've only had 9 fish, but I think that's really just down to how the lake's fishing at the moment. So give the rods another couple more hours, because it's 9 o'clock now and 11 o'clock's normally bite time. And in this swim, from the last few takes I've had, and start packing the gear down. So we're on our summary here, just about to leave Furzebray Lakes, and Chris is going to run you through what he thinks, you know, how he thinks the week's gone, pointing it out on the map, and explaining to us where he thinks maybe we could have done better, you know, why we didn't catch, and you know, that sort of malarkey. So off you go, Chris.
Right, so obviously we've had a very, very hard week. Tricky week. It's certainly been a lesson, that's for sure. So, right, let's start. So we had Kev here, first of all, down here in the lawns. There wasn't anyone in secret, because Kev could then cast and fish that water. So what do you reckon, Kev? What happened in this swim throughout the week?
Well, I think the first sort of 3 or 4 days, in my opinion, I think the fish looked like they were starting to get a bit spawny, like they were kind of like grouping up and they were just sitting in mid-water. They weren't doing very much. I think they were waiting for a trigger.
There were a lot of fish around here, weren't they?
Yeah, a lot of fish in the secret, and I think that they were just waiting for a trigger which never came along to get them going, because I think the cold weather put a stop to that, and obviously then it was an easterly then, and that put the fish down into lifebuoy for a couple of days, and they've just moved back into the swim now, and just as I'm packing up, they're rooting up all my bait, and you know,
this weather's kicked them into gear.
This weather today has definitely got them feeding properly. I mean, like, they were in the swim, but I don't think they were catchable. I mean, I tried zigs, floaters, all sorts, and you know, bottom baits obviously, and I had them in the middle of them, and they just weren't taking anything. They were just more interested in just chilling out, really, and that was more frustrating, really, than having no fish in front of me, I think.
I think you're unlucky to lose that fish, because I think that probably could have been a big one, and what would have made your week, really, wouldn't it? That's
well, when it rolled, it was definitely a mid-20, I'd say.
I think,
judging from the fish that you've had, I would have said that it was a bit bigger.
I think you weren't catching in the night time, because I reckon the fish were coming out, they'd come around this island, and the sun would stay here in this middle area of the lake in front of me and Jez's.
Which would explain why you were catching fish at night,
and
wouldn't
that's
it?
when I was catching, or that's when I'd get get indications that there were fish there early evening and into the night, and then in the morning up to about 10 o'clock usually, and then it would stop. And then I think fish generally were just moving up this sort of area of the lake. They were going past Dad a lot of the time. He didn't see fish on him until about Friday, when he had fish around this snag.
But again, now they're rolling all over the top of his bait, aren't
now
they?
There's no lines in the water, there's fish all over it. So they're obviously spookier lines and leads and casting. And then we got the point, which was John, and obviously he only had 3 fish, but he had 2 real good ones. So he's obviously going to be happy with what he caught, and he was catching all of them off the island. There was one night when the weather came in and he had that big, he had a 25, and then that morning he had a double, and then later on the next day he had his 30. But there were just groups of fish just coming in on him.
But that was when the easterly was starting to kick in, wasn't it? And the fish were obviously getting drawn by easterly down to there, and I think because of that easterly and the rain, it kind of like dropped the temperature a bit by about 3 or 4 degrees, didn't it? And I think they just went on the munch a bit, and they were all sat in Lifebuoy that day, weren't they? So.
And we're saying that, but he's had fish on him the last 2 nights and he hasn't caught. So it's equally, you know, if they're on it, I think you'll catch them, but it's just, they're not easy fish to catch by any stretch of the imagination. Jack, who was in the aquarium, probably the one who'd be the most disappointed with how it went.
I'm sorry if this is steaming up, by the way. I've got no idea why, and I don't think I can do anything about it.
Well,
in fact, that's just made it worse.
Oh dear.
But hey, carry on.
Well, how many fish do we reckon were down there all week? Not many.
Not many. Most of them were in my swim.
He did well to catch one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he did very well, and it was a stunner as well. So.
Yeah. So there we go. Maybe if someone had been fishing here. I do think the fish were probably coming down here and getting in there sometimes, and probably just getting a bit stuck and going up and down the far bank like that. But who knows?
Anyway, we're going to have to call that a wrap because my
camera's probably dying.
Camera's now steaming up.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it was a hard week. We hope you've enjoyed the video, don't we?
I think me and you will be back for some revenge, won't
Yeah,
we?
definitely. I think it's going to be Furzebray Part 2 coming up fairly soon. Anyway, getting out of here before this camera dies.
Kev's got a little visitor in his swim. And he's having a good time, just swimming about on this nice hot day. Kev's not looking amazingly pleased about it.
What? No, seriously, what are you actually doing?
I'm just having a bit of a lie down.
Why?
Because I was up all night. London Carp.
Really?
No. Time spent not catching.
So Miller.
Is that what you're going to call this album?
What are you doing?
Filming.
Why?
Why not?
Just why?
But why? Where's the net?
Oh no.
Dropping his rod in the water. Weed's a bit thicker than what we thought then.
And action. Right, okay, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to tie a chod rig now. I've got a bit of mouth trap, chod filament, I'm going to do, I'm going to get the hook. Should I use an 8 or a 10 for a 12mm bait?
Should be using a 10 for a 12 mil.
I don't know.
Good you saying
Did you
that.
say how long the length was? Not the circle a bit.
Wow, you can see quite clearly how long the piece is. It's about, you know, I don't know, that's what I tell the missus 5 inches is. Right, so I'm going to show you how to tie a chod rig. I've got 6 to 8 inches of mouth trap, quarter mouth trap, size 10 chod hook. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the line through the back of the eye.
Fuck it, I'm just finding something.
When you're fishing, it's not all just about the fishing. I mean, look at this little chap here. He's been coming visiting me the last 2 mornings on the trot. Hello, little fella. You alright? Been coming having a little bit of a grab out. Been feeding him a bit of boilie. He's on the bait better than the fish are, aren't you? But yeah, keeps on popping round. He'll come in my bivvy and say hello, and then he'll shoot off again. Sometimes it's amazing what you see when nobody else is in bed, really.